I'm not standing on a corner in Arizona, but it's still a terrifying sight to see. I got 7 women tracking me, but I said only one is my sworn enemy. Vampirism is the poster shit. Hide your wife and hide your kids. It's kinda like if you didn't know who Osama bin Laden is, you probably just think it's weird that the dudes who did 9/11 all had matching beards.
To the greatest. This is the greatest podcast in mankind's history, in the multiverse. This is the greatest podcast in the multiverse, the anti-George Carlin podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not seen the Mom of Nazareth, it's my second documentary I've made. Not the greatest. I'm not the greatest in the multiverse with documentaries, but I tried my best. I did my best. And there's it's my personal account, true crime documentary of what I went through regarding a cyber-terrorism, real-life terrorism, pedophilic, sadistic, nihilistic online organization that does real-life crimes like scamming and frauding. And it's connected to human trafficking, essentially sex slavery, and this documentary is bananas. What I went through, it's fucking sick. It's horrifying, and it's happening in our local communities. And go watch that. You can, if you want, you can watch the rest of this podcast without seeing that. I'll put it at the end of this podcast, but I implore you to go see that. I'm talking to you. Go see that first, because you'll have an understanding of what the fuck I'm even going to talk about. I'm going to be talking about the aftermath of what happens to an individual that goes through this. And it's going to illuminate a lot. In my personal case, I was medically tortured. I was sexually tortured. Police brutality of the fucking bizarre treatment. I'm not going to go into the legality of stuff. I want to reassure the Bethlehem community, because this happened in Bethlehem, among other places, 4 states, New Jersey, Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania. But I want to reassure the audience that if there is child pornography, child exploitation in general, in an organized fashion, the Department of Justice will come in and find out exactly what the fuck is going on in a police department that is implicated in a very serious case. So I just want to put that out there. These people are elite. They are badass, very sophisticated, educated, a force, and they're powerful. So, and they're tactical. So I just want to put that out there. Because, if you've been following my journey or you've seen the documentary, this is a real issue. And I don't know if we've come to terms with this as a community. Now, It's been my attitude from the beginning of this. I'm not judging the Bethlehem police. I'm not judging you. People that judge people at their worst moment, I think is unfair. And I'm the type of person, I want to receive criticism. I want to receive negative feedback. Why? So I can be better. That's my attitude. I judge people, how do they handle the turmoil? And in my personal case, it's bad. It's just fucking bad. To give people a brief synopsis, April and March of 2026, I reported a sexual assault. I was the victim, and I reported child sex crimes. Now, how this was handled, which I'm not going to get into, was bad. Just fucking bad news. I want to inform the public how a local police department should handle child information like this is to be engaged and to not cause further damage to the victim. And what I'm not going to put this on record here, but this is a card that, like, other police departments, when you report, stalking or harassment, whatever it is, there's about 100 different crimes committed to me. Terrorism. They want to inflict as much pain and suffering in the quickest amount of time possible. Why? Because instead of cold-bloodedly killing you, they want you to do it yourself, so it's not messy, so that people don't look into it. And after the scams, after the frauds, after the trafficking, that's what they do. And what was specifically said to me is, you do it yourself or we'll do it for you. Blackmail with child pornography, blackmail, extortion, sextortion, sending me pictures of a woman's head blown off, shit like that. Why? To instill me with rage, to get justice for what's happening. And you can imagine a criminal organization will try and hide behind law enforcement. Unfortunately, it's not all. Most law enforcement wants to get these predators bad. Probably worse than me. Nah, I don't think so, actually. I don't think that's possible. However, what they do is they want to have a total system collapse. That's what they want. And they rot people from the inside out. And I want to inform people that you can control that. I can control that. I can control if I'm going to be rotted from the inside or not. But the thing with narcissism, like I said, I don't want to judge you at your worst moment, Bethlehem Police, or whoever. I'm not going to judge, but I'm going to judge you on how you handle turmoil. And I think most people will remember how you handled it in moving forward. So that I just want people to know that. That's how I look at things. Like how did this get resolved? People will remember that part. I'm telling you, it's all about the ending. It really is. People. For me, everyone thought I was nuts. That fades. How do you handle it? That's more important. So I think most people know that, but I just want to provide that to the community, because there's going to be bad stuff that happens. But as a community, are we educated? Can we come together? And can we help people? So I want to give a brief explanation on the aftermath of this organization, because it may have happened to someone you know, and people don't know how to handle it because they're that sophisticated, tech savvy, and manipulative. So I'm going to tell a quick story. And if you've seen the Mom of Nazareth, you'll know these tactics in more detail. However, if you didn't, you can imagine a woman being raped by a male with a black shirt and a white circle. Why is the black shirt with a white circle significant? This is why. So after a predator does the worst thing imaginable, I couldn't imagine a woman going through what I went through. I just can't. And not all women are, my ex-girlfriend, if we're wondering how I got involved, it was a crazy ex-girlfriend that stalked me, became me. She groomed me from 22, and I sold some houses and shit when I had money, and they deplete your resources as a sex trafficking control mechanism. If you don't have resources, you can't handle the issue. And getting back to the point I was trying to make, so the woman in this hypothetical story is raped by a man wearing a black shirt with a white circle. So after she reports it to the police, the predators will use this tactic. She goes, let's say she gets enough courage to get out of bed because it's that fucking bad. It's the worst thing you could do to someone. So this poor woman now has been raped, and she gets out of bed, and by the grace of God, she gets to a grocery store to feed herself, because your basic needs get messed with. You don't feel safe anywhere. And she gets to the grocery store, and what does she see? Well, she sees other stalkers now wearing black shirts with a white circle. Now, no one will understand what this woman is going through. The cashier may be like, what the fuck's wrong? They're wearing black shirts. Oh my God. The cashier will go, she's nuts. What are you talking about? Black shirt. It doesn't mean anything to other people. This is called color harassment. Now, these stalkers may not know that the woman was raped and the assailant was wearing a black shirt. These predators then connect other perpetrators to this crime, the sex crime usually, or financial crime. They're intertwined. However, this color harassment's messing with this woman's head now. She's going, they're all connected. They're all my rapists. So she now equates these people with black shirts as a threat, a death level threat, because your mind really gets fucked up from sexual abuse. So this poor woman gets her groceries and gets back to her house. She wants to go to the hospital now. So she goes to the hospital. At the hospital, these stalkers then track her and get to the hospital wearing the black shirts with white circles. And they do something called street theater. What is street theater? Stalkers use this to manipulate their audience. And I go into narcissism in a more detailed fashion in the documentary that you should watch, The Mom of Nazareth. Educate yourself, know what I went through so you can prevent it from happening to yourself or other people, other victims, other women, other men, other children. So the stalkers have a narcissistic personality disorder. 4.8% of the population has disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. That's a pathology for the layman. It's a psychological pathology that they have this grandiose, self-centered, selfish modality of perception. You're simply an actor. I'm the director. You're the actor. I'm up here. You're down here. Get used to it. Get used to it now. You're going to be in big trouble. You're in big trouble because if you don't reflect back to me my inflated, gross reality, well, I might have a narcissistic injury. A narcissistic injury is a phenomenon where I need to regain control because you poked a hole in my inflated ego. Ooh, I'm getting smaller. I'm getting weaker. Ah. So I have to now stalk and prey upon you because if people found out that I raped this woman, that's a big fucking deal. My life's ruined. I might go into narcissistic collapse. And narcissistic collapse is the most unpredictable phenomenon. That's when people cold-bloodedly calculate your suicide. This is what happened to me. This woman went into narcissistic collapse, which is the worst thing you can do to a narcissist. It's just telling the truth. You're not all that. You're not special. Well, you're special, but not extra special. That's what I said. I'm special. I'm just not extra special. And this woman now goes to a hospital, and these people, these stalkers, stalked her location. Now they're telling the doctor, she just said she was going to commit suicide. They manipulate their audience. It's called street theater. They use this everywhere. They box people in while they're driving, fake accidents for insurance money. They fraud, they manipulate, they forge documents, they go to notaries, they fake signatures. They do all sorts of goofy shit, and they have an audience then to manipulate the local police departments because they're not hip yet. But it's 2026, and guess what? If you're going to get stolen from, it's going to be on your phone. They're going to manipulate what you see. They have technology to do it. And the people at Bethlehem Police, they told me, you're not being hacked. You're not being hacked. I'm a cyber-terrorist guy. This guy in Bethlehem was so far behind. It's 2026. I'm hacked. It's pretty recognized now. But anyways, this woman's now raped, black shirt, white. Now she's being color harassed. Now she's in a hospital to report this, and they're manipulating the doctors, and they're using AI voice recognition software pretending to be this woman's family. And the doctor doesn't know what to do. It's an ER. We gotta get her out. We got people's lives to save. There's a heart attack patient over here. So he's being manipulated by the audience, by the stalkers. They manipulate their audience, and the doctor's a part of their audience because, again, they're the director, you're just an actor. Get used to it. So this doctor's now manipulated. In the back of his head, there's a proclivity to be polite in conversations. The doctor's not going to go up to this woman and say, hey, this person just said you were going to commit suicide. He's going to actually engage with her, and in the back of his head, though, he has this bias already. So the doctor then, I don't know what's going on. There's black shirts. They're wearing black shirts. The doctor has no idea. The cashier didn't. No one knows what she's talking about. It only means something to her. It's color harassment. Those people have black shirts. Oh my God. So now the doctor thinks she's nuts. That's a win for the narcissist. Now they send her to a psych ward, and that's where the actual abuse and torture will really begin. All right, so now she's at a psychiatric ward in this hypothetical, fake, but very real story. So this woman is now at the psychiatric ward, and the gang stalkers are now manipulating the psychiatrist at this facility, and their goal is to make her seem as crazy as possible. So these are the tactics they then use. Isolate her. Don't let her join into the therapy groups. Don't let her heal, essentially. Then the men will be very creepy to her. They will probably expose themselves, furthers the sexual abuse so that she doesn't heal, and to essentially make her commit suicide. So it's a horrible experience at the psych ward. She gets out, and they continue to stalk her, and they find her location. And the reason why she can't report this is because these perpetrators group online, and they're random to her. She doesn't actually understand that it's connected directly to her sexual assailant, the male who raped her. So she's trying to get to an aftercare appointment, and what they do as a tactic is mess with your direction so you can't find it. Why? So she won't make the appointment, and then the perpetrator goes, she's full of shit. She can't even make her basic medical appointments. She's incompetent. They use this as a strategy to not get caught. So on top of the rape, on top of the medical torture, on top of the psychiatric torture, on top of not being able to even get basic human rights met, this woman is now developing something known as complex post-traumatic stress disorder. What is that? So you can imagine, while she was raped, and no one knows this besides her because she doesn't know how to explain it yet. She has the rape. On top of that, the color harassment, the stalking, the AI voice recognition torture, medical torture. Now the doctor abused her because he was manipulated. Again, street theater is to manipulate the audience member. And it could be anyone. It could be your family. They use AI voice recognition to then call into her job. So now she has no basic right, no basic human rights, and everything in her life is being sabotaged. On top of her being raped, on top of the color harassment, on top of everything. So this poor woman then develops something known as post-traumatic stress disorder. So it's the rape, then the color harassment, then the torture, then the medical torture, then she doesn't know where to start. And it's actually a prison of traumatic events. And what this looks like, she can't sleep. That's something the aftermath is you can't sleep. Forget about it. And I'm sure the elite law enforcement wants to get these predators as bad as it might be impossible to get. I'm so angry daily, but I want these people to, I've had bad thoughts about these people, and what they do is also send, in this story, that they'll send the woman, photos of like a guy with his head shot, and they try and enrage her to commit murder. And this is well documented. There's been cases in California where this guy shot 7 people. They're all gang stalking me, and I don't know how to stop it. And people resort to lethal means because they've been coerced and manipulated. If they don't commit suicide, and God knows how many of those are. So that's the gist of it. And you don't know where to start. So this is my best thinking. I want to provide this to the community members so you can become educated on this matter of narcissism. It's basically narcissism. And that basically what narcissism looks like is criminal behavior. It's often linked to like antisocial personality disorder, which is bad, which is not to be confused with asocial. Asocial is like you don't want to go out and you don't want to, like, you're avoidant. No. Antisocial personality disorder is like Charles Manson. Extreme charisma, extreme charm, extreme lying, pathological lying to the point where they lie, they don't even have to lie. They just lie. It's what they do. So ASPD, that's extremely dangerous, and it's extremely criminal behavior. And it's linked to narcissistic personality disorder. And in women, it's borderline personality disorder. And that's the extreme fear of abandonment. I go into all this stuff in the documentary, and I talk about these tactics, but I don't go into color harassment. I don't go into the actual stalking, which equated pretty much most of my story. And I didn't want to go into that without solid evidence yet, and how they communicate. And I'm letting law enforcement do the thing. And I want to ensure people, again, when there is child exploitation, when there is child pornography, when there, all the bullshit that happened to me, the Department of Justice will come in. There's multi-regional resources for police corruption. So, like, not to be scared. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm trying to inform people and educate people so this never happens to another fucking person. Just imagine that woman. What the fuck, dude? Her life's ruined, and she'll have no idea what the fuck even happened. That's the scariest part. That's the manipulation that's scary. And then they call themselves agents. They don't say FBI, but for me, in my case, I talked about this in the documentary. They wrote handwritten notes. Don't touch the agents. Don't you dare put your hands up in the air and comply or else. That's pretty much what it says. And they impersonate agents, whatever that means. And the idea is to make themselves seem as powerful and in a state of authority at all times. I thought they had complete control. At one point, I thought that we were in a civil war. We kind of are with these narcissists, but in my mind, I thought that there was a government takeover. That's where it led me. They're that bad. They're that fucking bad. They're that fucking sophisticated, and they know psychology. So I literally thought we got overran. And the way law enforcement was handling it in Bethlehem, it's like that made sense to me. Like, holy shit, this is fucking bad. It is really bad, but like my brain went to worst case scenario. We are in a civil war. We got taken over. This shit's fucked up. That's where my mind went, because they had all this capability. However, there's levels of this shit, I will say that. And what I didn't talk about is my life was saved. Now it's on me to get my shit together. And that's harder. That's easier said than done. I want to talk about this aftermath of feature, is that there's no fucking resources for men. The police, you're supposed to go to. I don't trust the fucking Bethlehem police right now. So it's like I'm scared. I'm like scared. I went to City Hall and they told me to go down again. I'm like, I can't. I saw one of the cops who tried to doing some goofy shit to me, and I got fucking spooked. And I don't know. I'm spooked and I'm not going down there. I remember like the fear, and it's like a involuntary response. So getting resources out there. Getting people trained and psychologists trained on how to, and especially cops, on how to handle sexual assaults. That is a fucking must. Like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this podcast, but I love receiving negative feedback or criticism so I can be better. And I'm not judging the police. What I am doing is condoning solutions. I don't condone excuses. It's just so stupid. This part, oh, I didn't know, cyber-terrorism. One of the cops was making fun of me about Russian spies. I said they're communicating. So the way they deception and just manipulation from the cops is egregious, and that's unacceptable. That really is unacceptable. So I can imagine it's really difficult for women. God forbid a child. God forbid a child, but it's hard for women to even explain this phenomenon. So the resources have to be there. Trafficking resources for men. I got, some psychiatric places I went today. The beds are full, or, we're going to send you someplace you didn't do research on. Fuck that. I went to about 20 facilities in the documentary. I talk about that. They stalked me at each one. And I'll tell you, it's fucking scary. Psych wards are scary, man. Especially when you're being stalked. I was sleeping with colored pencils. I would sharpen them. And I would have them in my... wherever the clothing, the stupid paper, I'm like folding my. So I always have a pencil ready to jab someone's neck, because they're threatening to kill you, all in various ways. Yeah, they are. That's death threats. So, what else? So the aftermath is extraordinarily difficult to handle, and why that's the case, again, it's the post-traumatic stress disorder. Then it's new shit that no one understands, and that's the fucking worst, dude. Trying to explain this shit to people that, what are you talking about, cyber-terrorism? Again, if I was myself 8 months ago not knowing this, and someone came up to me, help, I'm being terrorized, and I love black shirts, I'll go, what the fuck are you talking about? I would judge the person, and I'll go, get away from me. And that's what my girlfriend at the time did. She didn't understand. That's what some of the police that weren't directly implicated in this, but guilty by association, but like, they are witnessing ungodly, sadistic acts in real time, and people do not understand evil. I want to say that again. People do not understand evil, because if you did, you'd be fucking petrified that these people exist. So you can imagine how much support law enforcement needs. It's bad, dude. It's bad. It's really bad. And the more education on cyber terrorism, more education on scams, more education on frauds. I think Kash Patel is doing an excellent job. If you see I'll put some of the documentaries and him speaking on what law enforcement's becoming, because I'll be honest with you, and I grew up with a bias, and I've always had a problem with authority, just generally. I've always had a problem with authority. I think what they're doing is going to instill a lot of trust in the victims. So when you're victimized, for me, it's humiliating. Humiliating. It's really embarrassing. And to provide a victim with resources and understanding is crucial, because they don't know what's happening. So to meet them where they're at is almost a law enforcement must, because you won't find the fucking criminals unless the victim is safe. So the more understanding that the community can have for trafficking, for sex slavery, for extortion, sextortion, these topics are now, like, unfortunately, and I'm going to say it, but I fucking hate saying it, it's become more common. Terrorism has become commonplace. There's so many of these predators, you wouldn't believe it. So, I mean, I have a hard time even accepting it. So, the more law enforcement can build bridges instead of burn them, and like, I'm not going to say this is typical. What happened to me personally? It's not. I don't think it is. And a lot of the local police departments they had integrity. So having integrity as a law enforcement agent, I think, is a must. It's already the hardest job. If you can imagine, not only any moment your life's in jeopardy, but other people's lives are in jeopardy too. So you're responsible for other people's safety and your own. And you're dealing with the fucking worst people on the planet. Like, these people are fucking bad, and they'll play games and they'll manipulate you in real time. So you have to be on your fucking game or you're done. And it's that real. It's scary. So with the advent of AI, no one saw this coming, that you can use psychological tactics. They can use drones. All my residencies were broken into. That's fucking horrifying, by the way. And they would light fireworks off on my fucking dock and shit at this lake. Scary, dude. Real scary shit. So they're not only using the tactics on you, then they're using on local law enforcement. And once that happens, total system collapse, because the community won't trust the police. And that is an issue. Anarchy. So the more people can get educated on how difficult law enforcement's job is, I think the better. So there's understanding for the victim and there's understanding for the law enforcement. All right, so we have an understanding both ways now. So the community is now understanding, look, this job is almost impossible in 2026. And the victim's job is close to, it can be done. I'm going to say I'm an extreme outlier. Because I don't think people, I'm not going to say it's courage, stupidity. Like, I was pretty dumb because I didn't know how many there were. Let's just put this in perspective. When you're being stalked after you've been raped, after all your money's been stolen, these people are serious. They mean fucking harm. And you don't know how many there are. Literally. There could be, they told me I'm outnumbered from the get-go. You have no chance. Like, just accept your death. That was told to me. So accept your death. You're outnumbered. You have no idea how many there are. Next, you're being tortured and sabotaged every step you take. Every step. They're relentless, and they want you to rot yourself from the inside and commit suicide. So you don't know how many there are. Then you're being sabotaged every step you get. And the cyber-terrorism, the coercion, the manipulation, it's almost impossible to deal with. So it's just a recipe for disaster. It's really scary. So in the outlier sense, I don't think the average person would be stupid enough to go back to the police where you've been brutalized, try and document it, try and send your phone and your laptop to data recovery centers. I didn't talk about that, but that's what I did. That's one of the steps I took to ensure my shit was safe. Because when you're blackmailed with child pornography, your life's ruined. Like, in a sense, like, impeding doom, and you're trying to keep your composure all the time. It's really bad. So we sent my phone and my laptop to these data recovery centers. Now, the problem with this, again, is you don't know how many there are, and they use these different essentially hacking capability. They hack your phone so they can give you a private investigator that's in on it, in on this scamming thing. So it's really scary, man. And then, color harassment, things like that. They'll drive by your house and rev their engines. They do everything to intimidate you. I was told not to go to court or you're done. Like, you better kill yourself before court. You better not show up. And by the way, shut up. Stop talking. So they're constantly observing you to shut you up. And a woman that has been isolated, raped, and then they're stalking her does not stand a chance. And what local police need to know is this woman doesn't even have basic human rights. So you're not only speaking to a person victimized, you're speaking to someone that has nothing left. Like, not even an ounce of courage left, because it's been robbed. They stole her humanity. She's not a human anymore. And to encourage and motivate these victims to come forth is a struggle. I think that's a law enforcement struggle that no one really anticipated. That it reminds me of the mafia in like the 60s and 70s. You know, they'll kill any witness and they'll shut you up and they'll make sure you shut up, or you know, you're not going to court. It's the same way. And some low-level criminals now become high-level criminals because of the internet and because of the capabilities that they have to cast a wide net, so to speak. You know, this woman that groomed me has probably groomed hundreds of guys. Who knows the real number? And only law enforcement knows, but these guys that probably don't even know they're victimized until it's too late, because that's the tactic. They are superficially charming. They lie and they spin these stories, and you feel bad for them, the abusers. And that happened to me growing up too. Step parents, I've been smeared. The smear campaign is pretty much, as soon as I came out of the womb, I had a stepdad smearing my name. I had a stepmom smearing my name. So much so, my mom didn't believe me. You know, this is real. So that woman, good luck. Her family's going to disown her. And meanwhile, she's been raped. It's so bad, you can't fathom it. And these predators feel as if they can get away with anything because they have this flawless system. So I think I'm an extreme outlier dealing with it. I don't know yet. I don't know how many people are aware of this, but I think I may be the only one that I know. I personally know. I don't hear stories about this online. I hear gang stalking, which is a persecutory phenomenon where a lot of people all over are being gang stalked, but it's by criminals. It's not the government. And they claim, again, I'm going to say this again, they claim they were agents. So it appears to the victim that the government's now doing it. And again, I believed that we were in a civil war. That's how bad. It's embarrassing. I didn't believe that for long. But my mind kept going back, and the more people reinforced the idea, it's the power of suggestion. If I tell you you should go see this documentary, you are far more likely to go see the documentary if I didn't say anything. That's the power of suggestion. And what these criminals utilize is the power of suggestion with other manipulation tactics. The Alice in Wonderland effect, that's one of them, where these abusers essentially confuse you. They'll use contradictory, I'm not going to abuse you, the viewer, the 10 out of 10, you're a 10 out of 10. They confuse you with contradictory statements, and then they give you the statement they want you to hold on to, and you grab it. There's a following effect. Your brain's being abused, and that's the scariest manipulation tactic they use. It's fucked up, and people will believe all sorts of goofy shit. I ran into a victim of this. I mean, who knows? It could be a story, but she thought her brain blew up and shit like that. I mean, this is bad shit. So they rely on this psychosis feature, and if you confuse a person to an absurd level, they will believe goofy shit. So you can look up police detectives abusing people, and some of these people say they committed murders they never committed. It's that crazy. And some normal guy who never committed murder will claim he did because he's been abused for 22 hours and isolated and basically left in a room to stew on God knows what the police are stewing up. But that's basically what happens. And luckily, law enforcement in higher positions is setting an example. So setting the example of top tier, we should be top tier law enforcement in 2026 because the crime is on a rise. But I heard Cash Patel say 300%. They've been catching like 764, which is a nihilistic online vicious. Most people know 764 now, thank God. But 300% in catching these fucking freaks and locking them behind bars where they deserve to be because they committed atrocious crimes. And they have no remorse. They're shameless. So the more people understand what law enforcement's actually up against is, again, half the battle. That's half the battle. understanding what the victims go through and law enforcement. It's two things I think we should work towards in helping save lives. Most people can get behind that. Most people can go, we could save a life. We can save a child's life. I'm in. For whatever reason, they have overthrown police departments, I guess. I'm trying to figure this stuff out as I go. So that's the aftermath too, is the immense amount of pressure put on an individual. Everything's been affected. You have no basic rights. You have no human rights. You've been traumatized. You've been victimized. You've been terrorized. You've been raped. You've been sexually assaulted. You've been color harassed. You've been sexually exploited. Women are showing me their tits and vaginas, and then the men are confronting me, assaulting me. It gets ridiculous. And stalking is a weird phenomenon too, because you don't know how many there are, and you're constantly being watched. So there's a lot going on in these victims. There's so much so that I don't think psychologists right now can even understand it. The average psychologist will go, what the fuck? My dad almost had a fucking heart attack. It's like just fucked up shit, dude. I can't imagine family members now that I embarrass myself to the world. It's rough. But it gets better. It gets better. And it will get better. And every day will be better if you just put one foot in front of the other. That's all you gotta do, is just one foot in front of the other. If you've been a victim to this, and this is an eye-opening experience, you go, okay, this happened, or this happened to someone else. Most people go, oh, that's an underground, I heard about this, it's an underground thing, that people are nuts. No, it's not. They've been abused, and they've been likely robbed, and they don't even know it. And the criminals fuck with your mind in 2026. It's all psychological. So it does get better. There is a solution, and law enforcement is fucking on it. I promise people watching this, there will be a happy ending, and lives will be saved. And again, I'm not judging the Bethlehem police. I was reporting reality and truth. And again, people don't judge on the circumstance. I don't think legality and stuff like that. Of course, I'm not a judge. I'm saying the average citizen like me. I'm an ordinary person. I may be an outlier in the way I systematically approach this organization, but as for my viewpoint, my perspective is that I don't judge the innocent, the non-corrupted law enforcement that was a part of this. I think that it's an extraordinarily new and strange phenomenon, and the way AI works is you can basically have a low-life criminal like this ex-girlfriend who has narcissistic personality disorder, and they will research how to fuck with people, how to get away with crimes, the perfect crime, how to make him kill himself, you know? So I'm telling you, law enforcement's on this, and if there are victims watching this, it does get better. You may not think so, but it does, and it will. As long as you don't rot from the inside, and I'm doing my best not to do that. And for me, it's exercise, music, comedy, and then being around good people, family. My dad's, like I said in the beginning of this, when this all went down, my dad helped me, and he may not have believed me in the beginning, and that's okay. However, being grateful for the support that you have is big for a victim, I think, because for me personally, it is, because you don't have much. You know, all my, you know, I for me, an ex-girlfriend fucked dudes that I thought were my friends. then that hurts, but it's like what she did to my girlfriend, I will never forgive her for that. It's unforgivable. What she did to me was unforgivable, but then the whole organization, they don't understand that I'm a human being. They look at people as objects, and they feel as if they're doing something good for their organization, but I'm a real human. It's crazy for me to even say that, but I'm a real person. And I was affected. I was greatly affected by this sadistic, pedophilic organization. So the aftermath is something that is really difficult to deal with. So the purpose of this podcast was to illuminate what this kind of looks like. I did my best to explain it, and to have resources available because this is more widespread than people think. It's just they went undetected for this long. I hope I brought this fucking organization down. I pray that we can educate ourselves and learn from this and have a happy ending. Because that's what everyone wants.